Forever. Dog.
Warning, the following podcast will give you stunningly accurate life predictions. For instance, you will feel shame when a friend or coworker overhears you listening to a podcast discussing obscure robots housed in boxes that are located around Disneyland. It's Disneyland Fortune Tellers with guest Avery Monsen on today's podcast, The Ride.
Welcome to Podcast The Ride, the only theme park podcast that will reveal to you whether you are about to take a great journey or meet the love of your life. But we have to warn you, it's not both. So choose very wisely which one you want. I'm Jason Sheridan, joined as always by Mike Carlson.
Wait, did you say you get to choose which one? But you're also going to find out?
Just be careful. Your decisions.
Wait, so you were saying to be careful. You weren't actually saying...
I'm saying one of those two will happen, but they both can't happen.
Right, but didn't you say you get to choose? Like the listener gets to choose?
The listener maybe come to a crossroads. Look, I was having real trouble coming up with this, and I think I did an okay job doing it in like 10 seconds.
I'm just trying to clarify what you were saying, that's all. Maybe I misheard. I could be the asshole here.
Choose wisely, listener. A great thing awaits you, but not both things. Scott Gairdner, how did you interpret the future?
Well, I kind of got distracted with the actual meaning, because what I got caught on is that it was already like a pretty like long thing, and then you ended like, so be careful which one you want. Like it still had a little addendum, a little under its breath. I really liked it. It could have gone on twice as long.
You could have added a few more things, like pick a number. Also, which number will it be? Will correspond to what your fortune shall be. And then it could have been more things.
One of the seers we're about to talk about today, I did see one of their fortunes. They read said one of your lucky numbers is 2. As if to, like there's a bunch of them, but here's one of them.
A lot of the cards that they give you are extremely long-winded. Like some of these fortunes, do certainly go on and on and on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so
we'll read every card. We'll read every card that we could find. We found everyone in the 65-year history of the park, and we're gonna read all of them.
Right. Do we have anyone in the audience that could make us a Jason Fortune Teller box with an animatronic in it? And then we could just have Jason riff on a bunch of these things and put them in there as a recorded audio. But we must have somebody in the audience.
Obviously, there's a fortune teller maker. There has to be.
Yeah.
Any random pool of people, you're going to find a fortune teller maker.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, he's not my guy, but I found a guy, and that'll. But before we get into this,
you do know a guy?
He's not your guy.
I not personally. I saw a video about a guy. We'll get to that shortly.
All right.
Who are your guys?
I'm excited.
Let's bring in our guest. You know him from HBO's High Maintenance, and he's the best-selling author of the book All My Friends Are Dead, and the upcoming book I Am the Longest Dog. Avery Monsen is here. Hi, Avery.
Guys, what a pleasure to be here. Jason, I thought the joke was great. I thought it was great as a fortune, and I feel like it really applied to me specifically. I'm happy with that as a fortune.
Okay, good. I appreciate that. You are married, so hopefully you've already met the love of your life. So I guess you're taking a long journey, maybe a train.
I guess that's right.
Yeah.
Every day is a chance to discover new depths of love, though. You know what I mean?
Well, that is true.
You could fall. Is it like, the love of your life is maybe just a nice piece of furniture? Like it could be anything.
True.
It doesn't have to be a human. It doesn't have to. Yeah, it could be anything really. Or like woodworking. Right. Woodworking now is your first love. I don't know. You decide. You decide. Yeah.
Like, we've got time for lots of hobbies to be the love of our lives. Right. This whole lockdown's done.
Yeah, so yeah, anything is possible. I think we should just keep giving each other fortune. Like we should each tell each other's fortune as this episode goes on, maybe. So if you want to call, anyone can call on any other person in this Zoom to give you a fortune, I think. Let's just have that rule on the table.
That's always there as a possibility. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So yeah, anytime, doesn't matter how many times or how few times.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fine. Meddling with things, powers beyond our control, that usually works out, right? Like,
our fortune tellers, are they? I guess they're tapped into some sort of dark arts.
Yeah, I think for sure it counts as the dark arts for sure.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
let's test it. Let's test playing with the dark arts today, because we have done that far too little on this podcast. I think
we've discussed it. But yeah, actually doing it is a whole nother thing.
Let's open
entirely.
the gates of hell right now and here.
I would like Mark, the opposite Marin, of course, open the gates of hell.
And which dark spirits are your guys, would you say?
Cerberus. Gotta go Cerberus.
Yeah, Beelzebub.
Bono's alter ego, Mr. McFisto from the Zoo TV tour.
It's two Mr. McFistos for the year so far. How many will fit into 2021? We'll keep a running tally.
He's sort of over my shoulder in this episode, guiding my dark thoughts. So yeah, if you want to get a fortune directly from him, ask me during this episode.
Yeah, and that is our topic. We were talking about the Disneyland fortune-telling machines, which, Avery, this is one you mentioned kind of in passing as like, and if we have time, we could talk about Fortune Red. And I was like, can you tell me more about Fortune Red? Because this is one that I have missed. I mean, I've done one of these fortune tellers, but like the two fortune telling machines that like tie in with the Disney Play app was like a news story at the end of 2018, and I just missed it entirely.
Yeah. Do any of you guys regularly go to the fortune telling machines?
Never.
Never once.
Never.
And I'm not sure that there's certainly one of them. So we're talking about three. There are three fortune telling machines.
There's
in
three
Disneyland
and sort of a fourth. The Aladdin's Other Lamp. Do you know about Aladdin's Other Lamp?
I knew about that one.
Wow, you're presenting things we don't know at all, or at least that I don't.
Yeah, this is good.
I'm impressed by.
I didn't intend that to be like a gotcha journalism. I didn't want to watch your asses, guys. I'm going to bring up stuff you don't know about.
Well, I should have scrambled and gone like, "Wow, yes, in fact, I've got my notes right here." Tap 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 tap.
Aladdin's Other Lamp is in a corner of. I think it's in the corner of one of the stores in Adventureland. It's just like a little lamp that's in the back of one of the gift shop stores, and you can put in 50 cents or whatever, and smoke will come out of it, and it'll talk to you. It's not really an animatronic like the other ones, but it'll like give you a fortune.
I have seen this now. Yeah.
In what? In a voice from the movie, or who does it? Is it a genie, or what is it?
It is a genie doing some sort of a Middle Eastern sounding accent that probably isn't good. So I go to these things. I didn't pay for them ever when I used to go, but now that this Disney Parks app, what's the app called? The Play Disney Parks app?
Yeah.
Yes.
They have made a function on the app where if you open up the Fortune Red or the Esmeralda section of the app, you can get a fortune for free. And not only is it a fortune, but it will give you one piece of a story that other people don't get to have. If you just put in money on the street without the app, you can't get these stories, I don't think. And they're like long. They're long stories. I have the cards here that no one else is doing, as far as I know. I've looked up, like pretty much anything at the Disney parks. If you Google it, someone else has done it. You know what I mean?
Of course.
I Googled the text of these, and no one is doing this. This seems to be a lot of effort that someone has put into these that no one is taking up except for me, as far as I can find.
Yeah, that's interesting. I haven't searched for it, but I haven't seen anyone do this. I haven't seen Fresh Baked Disney doing this. I haven't seen any of the vloggers. That's interesting. You should be vlogging about it, honestly.
I should start vlogging.
Yeah.
You should.
You should, show us the journey here. This is fascinating.
Can I back you way up? Because also when this all started getting talked about as a topic, that there is app interactivity in your phone with the fortune-telling machines. I guess I knew that there were a few of those in the park. I definitely knew about Esmeralda, who's in the Penny Arcade on Main Street. But when an email about you coming on came in, this is the first that I had ever seen the phrase "fortune read." That's how backwards I am on all this. I didn't know fortune read at all. Mike and Jason, am I crazy to not know about fortune read? Where does that fall in obscurity?
Fortune read.
You didn't know either.
No.
Okay. Wow. Again, you really found an area here.
I remember walking by him. I think maybe let's start with the one who is not tied into the app, because this one I do know and I have done before, and I'm talking about Shrunken Ned.
Ned.
The shrunken head in a machine, a fortune-telling machine in Adventureland. It used to be in the bazaar shop at Adventureland, and now it's kind of moved over to the extended seating for the Mike, what is it called? The kebab place. The Bengal barbecue.
Bengal barbecue.
Yeah, so it's in there, and it spits out cards that like have him on it. He is like a British. I have his full name here, Colonel Nedley Lostmore. He is a British explorer who, at some point along the lines, became a shrunken head. And he's very sassy.
Yes.
And he talks to you. He talks and spits out. He's sassy to you with his voice. The other two don't talk, really.
Right.
You remember getting the best show
talks.
with this one, I would think, of the three.
Shrunken Ned, in my opinion, is the best of the three. If you can look past the sort of like colonialist, this is a British man whose head has been cut off by somebody. That makes you feel not great about it, maybe, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was gonna bring that up of like, how do we think Disneyland shrunken heads are long for this world? I mean, this one appears to be a colonizer who got some comeuppance, so he might be okay.
Yeah, okay, so that I guess we can feel okay about that. But he's by far the funniest out of all of them. He's got like fortunes. One of the fortunes that I saw is just it's like a prescription, and the card is totally unintelligible. It's like in handwriting, and you can't read any of it because it's like a doctor's prescription. You know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's like a pretty good joke for a fortune telling little booth, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I think they're all
very.
Oh, good.
I was just gonna say he's like very like Adventurers Club-esque.
Yeah,
he's got that vibe, that era of Disney. Do we have a date actually when he was put in?
Couldn't find that.
I don't know exactly when he was put in, but there is a Disney Parks blog post from 2014 where they made a little video showing people like, getting their fortune, him talking to them and reading the cards and that sort of thing. So they were plugging it up to a few years ago.
I think he came in. Newer. Yeah, I think he's new. I think the earliest he was the 90s Indiana Jonesification of Adventureland, like when it all sort of got a more coherently 1930s theme, and he's kind of a 30s guy. So that's the old. Yeah, this is not some Walt era remnant, and he is in fact voiced by an Imagineer of the era, Eddie Soto.
Who worked on Paris, Disneyland Paris.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
There's a lot of interesting interviews with him on Season Pass. I think Season Pass and other places. He's got a lot of like Baxter era stories, and I think worked under Tony a lot.
Right. That's fun. It's a fun voice. It's sort of in that like I was gonna say like Peter O'Toole. It's not exactly that, but sort of that's like hoity-toity.
It's like that. It's that generally.
Harumphy, my boy, good show. He says patronize. Thank you for patronizing. And he is, what's his little like catchphrase, that he's the jungle's only self-service witch doctor. It's all fun. It's all like fun little world building. It's like a good example of I like all this stuff they're doing to make Adventureland a world that keeps extending beyond the Jungle Cruise, where Jungle Cruise is kind of the base, but then there's Trader Sam's extends it, and this extends it. And it all ties into C, the Society of Explorers and Adventurers, and I don't know, this whole whatever they're doing, this like continual Adventureland expansion is I think real neat. I think they're all doing a good job with it.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, it seems fun. Like it seems like a fun, creative thing to like add to it.
Well, it seems like they're gonna. I mean, when they redo the Jungle Cruise that they've announced, I think it's time to take out some of those weird, dated stuff, the anachronisms.
Of course.
Like, and you can still keep it interesting and
I don't know. Luckily, I don't think there's been a ton of like people like so mad about the Jungle Cruise changes. I mean, I think all the changes they've made like make a lot of sense in general, but this one especially, I feel like most people are like, yeah, of course. Make the changes.
I think it's too obscure to be mad about. Like there's something
true.
like there was
True,
something
too.
that, forgive the pun, but there's something splashy about Splash Mountain. But the Splash Mountain is, people know that name, and everybody like geared up that day to go like, you're gonna take my thing out and change it. But this story ultimately is like they are going to add probably cool new scenes that take out problematic elements of a ride. Like it's all like somebody's got to like really read the fine print to know what they're supposed to be mad about with this story.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's just like too much effort. It's too much work to be mad. Maybe where you're like, all right, I got to figure out that there's bad native representation, and then there's one scene here, and it's being replaced by skippers, and too much. I'm gonna go back to something else. I can't.
I usually I would say I would love to meet blank. I do not want to meet the person who's like, you got to leave the porters being menaced by the tiger. You got to leave those porters there.
Yeah, I mean, for you to racist, think about that. You have to be openly racist, I think, right?
I think so.
But also a big theme park fan. Like, you have to have like encyclopedic theme park knowledge, which is good, and racism, which is bad.
Yeah, there's a Venn diagram for sure there.
Go to Etsy, search Thin Blue Line Mickey, and you'll find it. You'll find it in mere seconds. You will find that immediately. Shrunken Ned, since we're talking about world building, Shrunken Ned has other appearances. He is the namesake of the jungle, the little boats you drive around at the Magic Kingdom by the Jungle Cruise. I don't know if they're still there, but these little motor boats are called Shrunken Ned's Junior Jungle Boats.
And do they have another version of the Shrunken Ned fortune teller in Magic Kingdom, or is it just lending the name over there?
I think it's just lending the name. There's a small nod to Shrunken Ned at the Skipper Canteen and at the Trader Sam's Grotto at the Polynesian. The weirdest thing I found out about him, and I didn't know these, there's books called Tales from Adventureland.
Yeah, I got into this one too. I went down a little rabbit hole with this one too, but tell us about it, Jason.
So, Tales of Adventureland is about Ned's grandson, I believe. And
so this character that you, the listener, might be finding out about for the first time right now, there's all extended universe mythology about his grandson.
So it's modern day then.
I think it's in the 30s.
Kind of.
You're right.
He was old enough in the 30s to have a grandson.
You're right.
Unless it's about the grandson being old now today. But it doesn't sound like it is.
Right, no.
And it... So here's the... the last names don't. This is not perfect 1-to-1 because in the books, Ned is in a group called the Jungle Explorers Society, which is very like they didn't have the C thing I think worked out, or they didn't agree to put it in the book. And so he is also it. This part I don't know is a little sus. He was ambushed by a witch doctor / assassin named Bungalow Bob.
Yeah, see, that doesn't make you feel too good.
Yeah, that one feels.
It's kind of a
Feels
Beatles
less
ripoff.
good.
Also, that's another issue with it.
Yeah,
It's
really.
one off
That's
of Bungalow Bill.
Yeah, the Venn diagram of Beatles fans who are racist and also care about deep cuts in the Disney parks.
that exists.
Just adding more and more circles.
Just adding more and more.
They know they're there.
Okay, so the grandson Andy Stanley at some point has to go retrieve a hidden key from the enchanted tiki room.
Oh, of course, yeah, the hidden key.
Sure. Do they talk about keys in the tiki room, or is that's something else? They added that.
That is, well, the first book is called The Keymaster's Quest in this series.
Of course.
The big notable thing in this book is that there is a robot butler named Bolton House, and it is clearly a nod to the robot butler from Horizons. And then at some point in the book series, Shrunken Dead starts using the robot butler body as a mechanical, like as a mech body.
I like that.
That sounds great.
That's fun.
Yeah,
That's a good.
I like that a lot, honestly. How many of these books exist?
I am not sure. Avery, you said you looked into it. Did you go down?
I didn't see how many. I didn't see how many books there were. I went down a little rabbit hole looking up the author of this book, who apparently has like a collective of some other guys that all make steampunk guns together. Which I feel like that makes sense, right? Little blasters and things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They like sell them on an Etsy site or something.
Okay. They have to be expensive, right?
Yeah, I think they're pretty expensive.
Yeah.
More expensive than if you were to go to an Etsy store about for Thin Blue Line Mickey stuff, which I did and have since Jason brought it up.
Can be relatively cheap,
I've been staring at it, and it's been staring at me. Yeah, it's only $8.50 for a wristband or something that you wear, that on one side is a lot of Mickeys with police helmets, and then Minnies with a bow, and then an American flag pattern with the Thin Blue Line, and then on the other side it says, "Watch out, boys, my daddy is a police officer."
Jeez, Louise.
That's intense.
$8.50? And then you rotate it a little bit more, and it's the lyrics to "Lovely Rita Beanermaid." Because you got to get those Beatle fans.
More unlicensed Beatle stuff.
Yeah,
that's the Venn diagram. The Venn diagram is a Mickey head. There's three circles and.
Oh yeah.
They should make these books into movies, right? The public would want to see these adventures that take place around the Disneylands, right? Right?
The extended universe of the machines, yeah.
So there's three. Okay, there's three of these books. I don't know how many books are in the King. I feel like there's a lot more Kingdom Keeper books, which I have not read, and I feel like I have to.
So I think I found the rabbit hole that I had gone down. I looked up the author Jason Lethgo of this novel, and in his bio on Penguin Random House, he just as like a throwaway line, he says he is a part of a mysterious society of adventurers called the Brotherhood of Thaumaturgic Cartographers. And then I googled that, and that's how I found all the steampunk stuff.
Thaumaturgic? Is that the word you said?
Thaumaturgic. Yeah, THAUMATURGIC.
Wow. I've never heard that word.
Is that a real word, or they make it up?
It's possible they made it up.
I'm looking it up now as thaumaturgic, having brought about or relating to supernatural powers or magic. Huh. Well, I got to use that a lot more now.
Drop it in the conversation. Yes, everyone will be impressed. Go ahead.
Can I ask for a fortune from Scott real quick?
Oh God. How do these work? What is all right, an old friend will seek your companionship, but beware of his non-virtuous intentions, and He's got a knife. Look out.
Oh shit! Oh,
Wow.
shit.
And it's
Wow. I
in
feel
3
like
days
he really
from
got
when you
you
read
with
this.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
He
Uh-huh.
really
Random-
got, yeah.
A friend of mine's going to try to kill me with a knife.
Yeah.
Jeez.
But you think he's just seeking, I already don't remember the beginning of it, but you think he's just seeking
Well, you were channeling.
advice.
It wasn't even really a conscious thing. You were
Yeah,
channeling
yeah.
the dark spirits.
No,
You
that's
were-
what happens anytime that's why I delayed for a second and seemed upset to have to say a fortune. I was propelling my brain into the spiritual realm.
You were being very thaumaturgic.
That was a pretty thaumaturgical moment. Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, feel free anytime, obviously. Many times as you want to hit me up for fortunes.
Yeah, no, we all should be doing this more.
Yeah.
For reminding us of this gun that can go off in this episode.
Yeah.
Yes, much like a steam-powered revolver, this could go off at any moment, and that is both a good and bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
Can I ask this,
Chekhov's steampunk blaster.
Yeah.
Let me ask this question in general as we're talking about the fortune tellers available at Disneyland. Avery, any of your fascination with this? Did it come from this hearing about this odd thing about the app interactivity, or is this an outgrowth of like you are detail oriented at the parks and want to find like the odd little off the beaten path experiences there?
Yeah. So, I mean, I was thinking about this. I was trying to like put my finger on exactly what drew me to these things. I think it's a couple things. I think that part of it maybe was seeing the movie Big a bunch as a kid, where the Zoltar machine played a pretty big role, right? I think part of it was, Jason, have you ever been to the Musée Mécanique in San Francisco?
I have that written down. I have been to the Musée Mécanique.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I grew up in the Bay Area, and before the Musée Mécanique, which is for people that don't know, it's this sort of warehouse full of these old fortune tellers and little like dioramas, moving dioramas and things like that. Jason, how would you describe that place?
Yeah, it's like it's like the Penny Arcade at Disneyland, but much larger, and you know,
kind of
it was
shittier.
one guy's
Like everything's kind of falling apart, right?
Yeah, but a lot of it, you're shocked that it's like, oh, I put a quarter in and it works. Like, it does work. I mean, I feel like I see the Musée Mécanique mentioned a lot with, is it Laughing Sal? I forget.
Yeah.
This
It's like
giant,
an 8-foot-tall woman, just a terrifying woman.
Just a terrifying half puppet, half animatronic thing, and you just pay it and it laughs. And it's scary. Like, it scares children and the dogs. Like,
That's
laughing.
what you get? That's the point of it?
That's what you get. Yeah, it's like the equivalent of like the movie with the train coming right at you, or like.
Oh yeah, Scott. Do you not know what Laughing Sal looks like?
No. Oh God.
Scott.
Yeah, Scott. This actually might be right up your alley. This might be your new thing.
Well, Laughing Sal. Yeah, this might be a version of what this is. I've maybe talked about this before, because I think there was one of these up on the top of the entrance to this ride that I'm very fond of, the Scary Dark ride, which was in Newport, in the Fun Zone, or on Balboa Island in Orange County. There used to be one of these like teetering up and down. It looks like maybe on the Santa Cruz Beach
Santa Cruz,
boardwalk
here you
at
go.
some point too. So yeah, I know this face. Now that I dealt with my fear of this face already in my childhood, so I'm not having to experience it new right now. Thank God.
Okay. So you're used to Laughing Sal, and you're not scared of her like you are maybe Chucko or the other clown. I'm blanking on its name.
The one from the cereal boxes that we found that was replaced by that bear,
What's his
Golden
name? Jason?
Crisp.
Jason, what's that? What's that?
It
clown's
was similar. It was like Chunko,
Oh, man.
Crispo.
Wasn't Crispo.
There's so many.
I mean, there is definitely a clown named Crispo somewhere, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty much waiting to be a clown name. Yes.
Yeah, it's. I see a picture of him here.
Yeah, I pulled up Sugar Smacks Clown. 12 forgotten cereal mascots.
Oh, people are yelling at us right now.
I was close though. I think it's close to
A lot of
Crispo.
clowns are yelling at you right now.
no,
Yeah, all the
don't
clowns
say
in our
that.
audience. We apologize. anyway, talk amongst yourselves while I try to.
So when I was in high school, I went to the Musée Mécanique a couple times, and it actually the place that it's in right now, which is on Fisherman's Wharf. Before it was there, it was in this old place called the Cliff House, which is like way far out. It like on the end of San Francisco on the beach in this old building that was kind of falling apart, and so it made it like way creepier, way more like kind of grimy and fucked up, which to me was way better. And so and eventually, like sometime in my high school, the building needed like structural maintenance or they like lost their lease or something, and then they had to find a better place for it. But so that sort of like old-timey, like turn of the century, like nickel machines thing sort of occupied a weird space in my brain. Also, a lot of them are like a little diorama where you'll put in a nickel and you'll see like an opium den. Do you know what I mean? It's like
yes, I've seen the opium den. I've definitely seen that.
Yeah. Or like you'll see like a man get hanged, and it's like the drunkard's revenge, or do you know what I mean? It's like some weird little morality tale,
like bizarrely harsh, and like a real, not just a remnant of the time, and that you're like looking at a thing that was made closer to the turn of the century, but also a remnant of the time, and that it's like dark and clearly from a time where people like just kill each other in cold blood, and like it was just like a grimier era. Like, this is what you do for fun, is think about opium dens and what hanging someone for being drunk. I wonder what's the issue in that one.
It's like the old timey like cartoon All Stars to the rescue. That's the only way they could scare you about things, is like you have to go up to a box and pay money to be scared into not doing something wrong.
Because high schoolers could not resist the siren call of opium. So
right.
You got to take them to this scary box to scare them straight.
Right.
Yeah.
Cliffy.
Crispo was pretty close, I think.
Crispo was close. Cliffy the clown. Anyway.
So that was like in my head, and then the other thing that I think was that I like as a kid I was super into magic, and there's like a pretty big overlap in the history of magic with like robots and automatons and things like that. Like back in, the guy's name is Jean-Eugene Robert Houdin. The guy that Houdini got his name from, basically, was like a watchmaker and a tinkerer, and a big part of his magic was these like robots and things, right? So around the turn of the century, they had these robots were sort of a big part of magic, and I was super into it as a kid. So they had this. There was one that was like a Turk that would play chess with people. Have you seen this? It's like a big box with a robot Turk on top, and he would play chess. And then eventually they found out that actually it wasn't a robot; it was a guy inside the box operating the thing as a puppet. But they like lied to everybody and said that it was a robot. But there's like a ton of stuff like that.
Right, that's the real secrets of magic. They either made an insane contraption, there's a guy inside it, or it's a twin. Those are the usual explanation, or a mirror.
Right.
That's
on Magician Secrets
stuff.
Revealed on all those specials. It's always just those three answers.
The answer is
basically
this one's a twin thing. We'll just go to commercial early because it's twins.
Avery, are you Magic Castle guy? Like, have you been to Magic Castle multiple times?
I have been to the Magic Castle a couple times. I also, there was this TV special that I watched a bunch as a kid that was Mark Summers' Magical Mystery Tour that took place in the Magic Castle. That was Mark Summers from Double Dare having some hijinks in the Magic Castle after hours. And I saw that a bunch of times before I ever moved to LA. And ever got to see, and so like when I finally got to the Magic Castle, I like knew my way around because of just seeing this special a bunch as a kid.
Whoa! Oh, it like shows you the geography and all the like special details.
I mean,
like,
I just like would recognize rooms. Yeah.
Wow.
Right.
That's a cool special. It is like a really like genuinely creepy, and I feel like a cool use of his power at the time. Like, Nickelodeon owed him, so he did a cool thing about the magic place that he loves. Like, I feel like he like that's a cool vanity project to have done on Mark Summers' part.
Yeah.
We haven't talked. I mean, we haven't talked a lot. We've talked a little about Magic Castle. I mean, it feels like we probably owe it more discussion down the road. But I know they're going through some troubles of their own.
They're going through some tough times right now.
Yeah.
But also, you can vote there. They helped get the vote out. So
that's
thanks,
true.
Magic
you can vote
Castle.
there.
Yeah.
And I did audio and visual for Bing Crosby's wife's musical performance in the basement at the musical.
Oh, yeah.
That's where that was?
Yep. That's where it was.
Is this the first podcast mention of your time working for... I don't think I even knew the relation till now. It was Bing Crosby's wife?
Yes. I think this is odd that this hasn't come up on the show, and we'll talk about this at length at a different time. Yes, I worked for Bing Crosby's wife, Catherine, in some capacity, doing like PowerPoint while she would sing songs.
And wait, PowerPoints though, like
yeah, I would
like with like showing like the bullets of what she's singing about, trees, birds, lovely days,
just swooping in, spiraling in.
Yeah, well,
gotta get transitions.
Yes, there would be pictures of the two of them. There would be pictures of the children, perhaps, and then there would be video. She would play a video of her as a young lady singing with Bing from an old show, and I would be responsible for hitting spacebar. But that's a whole nother.
It's a cabaret act. It's a cabaret show.
If Mrs. Crosby tries to get back into your life, watch out for a knife, man.
Oh yeah.
Whoa, you're right.
Yep. If 3 days from now you get a call, you need somebody to press a space bar again.
That would be the craziest way I could die.
Greetings, mortals. I am the Lord thy God, King of the universe, creator of space. We don't need the vocal effects. Can we lose that?
That's my actual voices. Okay, great. Hello, I am the Lord thy God, King of the universe, creator of space and time, or as I prefer to be known these days, at the tweet of God. For over a decade, I've entertained my over 6.2 million followers with my wit, misanthropy, and oft-stated regret I created any and all of you. Well, now I'm taking my hilarious blend of contempt and disgust from the Twitterverse to the podcast verse with my new show, the predictably named Godcast, premiering Wednesday, January 27th on Forever Dog. On Godcast, I'll be opening up my infinite mind about everything from politics to the nature of reality to this week's point spreads to how much longer I'll save the Queen to that weird new growth on your neck. I'll answer prayers, take spiritual phone calls, surprise people with live eternal damnations, justify the platypus, and even explain the Bible, which is not at all easy to do. Plus, every episode, I'll be interviewing a guest, either alive, like Stephen Colbert, Zooey Deschanel, and Lin-Manuel Miranda, or dead, like Moses, Amelia Earhart, and Lizzie Borden. Joining me for it all will be my adorable sidekick, the 18 to 34 demo appealing Joan of Arc.
Hi, God.
Hi, Joan. You excited for the show?
Sure am. Hey, could you put me out now?
Not now, maybe soon.
Sounds great.
New episodes of Godcast will premiere every Wednesday, so be sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Or you can, and will, go to hell. Godcast, from the creator of At the Tweet of God, and everything else.
Godcast is brought to you by NetSuite, the world's #1 cloud business system.
Hey, this is Gabe Gonzalez, and I host the brand new podcast, Queerty.
And this is Alex Berg, and I host the brand new podcast, LGBTQ Nation.
Two brand new podcasts made lovingly just for you.
On Thursdays, I sit down with the best LGBTQ journalists, activists, and politicians to discuss the most pressing topics in the community.
And on Fridays, I end each messy week right by sitting down with the funniest, smartest, and sexiest people in the world to talk pop culture, entertainment, news, and more.
LGBTQ Nation and Queerty, politics, and pop culture.
On Thursdays, you cry. On Fridays, you laugh.
No, it's not all sad. We have some good news on Thursdays.
Okay, like, what am I talking about? These days, you can cry every day of the week.
Listen to both shows and get to know everything you need to know.
You're already holding your phone, so subscribe to Queerty and LGBTQ Nation today on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Only on Forever Dog.
Your first
Killed
job
by-
comes back to haunt you.
By the
Well, when we do more Magic Castle, I'll tell more about that story.
Yeah.
I will recommend. I don't know how many tickets are left, but the Geffen Playhouse in Los Angeles has been doing a run of different shows called the Geffen Stay House, and I saw a magic show from the comfort of home on my laptop called The Future. This sleight of hand close up magic guy Helder Guimaris, I believe is how you say the name, and it was awesome. They send you a tube ahead of time. They send you a mysterious box you were not allowed to open.
Whoa!
And you participate in the tricks. Like there was a thing that I did that I couldn't. I have no idea how he did. There was one or two where I was like, I think I see. It's very good. It's a little pricey, but it's very good. And
it's a great show.
directed by Mr. Frank Marshall, the producer of Jurassic Park. Right?
Good friends with Jimmy Buffett.
Yeah, there you
Good,
go.
but Jimmy Buffett's best friend. Yes.
Best friend. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's the reason to support it.
Jason, bad news. I got a fortune for you. A seemingly innocuous tube in your home may be soon involved in your demise.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm not allowed to talk about what was in the tube or what I was supposed to do with the tube, but I do recommend it to people. It's a little pricey, but you get a tube that will apparently kill me.
Only Jason won't. Everybody else is fine. If anybody else wants,
Everyone
the
else
tube,
is
you're
fine.
good.
Okay.
Scott's
So far-
fortunes are scary.
Yeah, so far 2 for 2 on the fortunes ending in death.
They're all. That's how they work, right?
Avery, could you give Jason a fortune real quick?
Jace, the spirits are reaching out to tell you don't go outside.
Wow, another warning.
Okay. Great. That is not difficult.
Oh, wait, there's more?
Because of an old friend is approaching also with a knife.
What?
Okay. Well, now, hold on a sec. This seems like I'm going to run into Mike and we're just going to both go for each other because of these warnings.
Yeah,
it's
is that what
driven you
this is
both
headed to?
mad. Yeah. You're assuming it's the other.
Well, so maybe there's a knife in that tube Scott was talking about. Jason's going to go for it, and it'll slip out of his hands, and he'll stab himself.
Yeah, it's kind of the gift of the Magi, but with 2 friends stabbing each other.
Oh my
Scary
gosh,
gift
this
of
is
the
awful.
Magi.
I should not have called for
this is-
fortunes.
Now you know.
Gee
They all
whiz.
ended
Big
somebody
mistake on
dying.
my part.
As far as I can tell, the Disneyland ones don't. The Disneyland ones are pleasant, mostly. Although
Yeah.
Shrunken Ned refers to diseases that don't exist and cures that wouldn't fix
Right.
them.
Right.
So
they have to be positive. Do we know, like, it is any... I mean, I'm sure this is not well documented, but it would be interesting because I would imagine... When is the oldest one? When is the first... Is that there from day one?
the Esmeralda
at
is
Disney?
Esmeralda?
some
Forever.
version of that was there in day one.
Like, those
Oh,
probably...
okay.
She, at that point, she probably gave out warnings about knives. Like, that, then they didn't care as much, probably.
I
but-
found an old Esmeralda. It's not terribly. This is from the 60s. Let's see. Worry over danger for a loved one has been your lot. This will pass. Okay, so that's actually a nice thing. I think the reason I pulled it was saying you may have some marital trouble, but a true friend will help straighten it out.
Oh,
Esmeralda
no, that
would.
sounds like someone is going to die.
or get beat up. I don't know.
Or,
Like,
yeah,
what is-
get
straighten
beat
it
up.
out.
Yeah, straighten
Or-
out doesn't necessarily mean that the marital trouble is over and the marriage continues. That could mean, well, the marriage is not your problem anymore.
Right, because your friend is going to throw your wife off of a cliff or something like crazy. Like, who knows
Yeah,
what
some
that's getting at?
Real strangers.
A
on
lot of
train
them
is-
imply there is like marital stuff in a lot of these cards, from what I could tell. And I did see some story. Was this also an Esmeralda? Maybe it was a Ned. I don't know. One of the machines told a couple, said something about you will find a new love. Like you've experienced marital trouble, but you'll find a new love. This is given to a husband and wife. We're like, no thanks. I think we're good.
That is a perfect illustration of what I was saying. Where like that's not flying in a Disney park in this day and age.
No, that was recent. I think that's
really?
in the last decade. Yeah.
Oh,
wow! I'm shocked.
Wow.
Don't quote me on that. I don't remember the source.
That's funny.
But
That's funny as hell. I think that's great.
Yeah,
that is great.
That's like not something comes across Bob Chapek's desk. Really, that's what that is then. Because if like that was presented to the higher ups, like, you know what cards we're giving out, they would definitely be like, oh, it's just got to be. They have to be turned into ads for our new movies. That's what it would be going forward. So that's just probably snuck by because it's these are such low key things that people
like. You may experience a fun and enlivening time when you stream Soul on Disney Plus this weekend.
The Mighty Ducks are back.
An old friend may return. The initials are GB. Gordon Bombay, perhaps.
Yeah, we really shouldn't put this out there because it's going to happen.
I think one of the appeals to me about these things is like, especially when I first started going to Disneyland, I realized like how much off the beaten track stuff there was, like stuff not on the map or stuff that everyone doesn't tell you that. So finding like a fortune telling machine where it spits out the card that you get to keep, or finding like a little room where you can queue off an effect or something.
You know what's a weird one of these is there's that has anybody ever done it's in a Frontierland shop. It's kind of on the other side of where Shrunken Ned would be. They're like way in the back of the store. There's some weird like kind of glockenspiel machine you put a quarter into, and then it does a big like clangy one-man band kind of song. I don't know the actual name of the instrument, but does this sound familiar at all? The weird like Frontierland old-timey flabtraption that plays you a song?
100%.
I've done that.
Yeah, I think I've done that.
That's neat.
I want way more of this kind of thing in the park. It's like there is. Do you guys know about the singing lesson on Main Street?
No.
So if you go down Main Street and go off one of the little sort of side roads that doesn't go very far, if you go, one of the windows says singing lessons, and if you go to it and listen, you can hear they have a speaker playing the whole time, like somebody giving a singing lesson inside the little singing lesson store. And I feel like that kind like. They should have stuff like that going all the time. Like, what is stopping them from putting a little speaker in different places and having little, like, things that you can stop by and listen to? You know what I mean?
Yeah. They have, I'm trying to think of other versions. They have, like, the phone at the market house at
phones?
Starbucks.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And there's, like, is there a telegraph running in there, too? Like a telegraph machine?
Yeah.
I mean, this stuff is all so fun and also is so for annual pass holders who just want to wander, and it's like, just give us more stuff to. I guess it's like anything when you get way into something and you want like, we want like little things only we know about, right? Is that kind of what? Isn't, if I'm psychologically analyzing us,
that you can take a new person and show, like, you know, not everybody might know this one, and either they think that's cool or that you're a major dweeb.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it really obviously it fills it out. It fills it out in such a fun, rich way, and I also think like, even if you don't notice it, you notice. Like with details wise, even if you don't notice it, you notice it. If you're hanging out in an area and they have a bunch of like kind of soundscapey kind of things, that is actually making it better, and you might not even be aware of why.
Well, let me say that, you know, for a new thing in the park, for a big, ambitious new thing, Galaxy's Edge is full of this kind of thing. Little, like, soundscape designs. Here's this little show. I haven't done a ton of the app interactivity, and I feel like people were disappointed by that, maybe on the whole, but there still is a lot to do in that regard. Like, you'd think that they would, like, and then there's, you know, obviously, like, a lot of things they cut with Galaxy's Edge, but, like, that kind of thing... They're I don't know. I do like that they they didn't ignore that, and that something being built from the ground up in 2019 was so detail oriented.
The radio station in the bathroom is really neat. I mean,
there's so much stuff in there. Like, there's so much on that loop, I feel like, that I haven't even heard.
Yeah, the experiences where, like, I know, especially if you go to Galaxy's Edge with little kids, where, like, if you find Rey where she's wandering around and, like, convinces people to, like, follow me, sneak through things and trick stormtroopers, like, those little things fill stuff out.
That's the best stuff. I mean, that's the best stuff in there. I mean, I don't know. That sounds like I'm putting the land design or anything else down, but that stuff is little secret things. Like, did you know if you, like, bring your child, Rey will hang out with them and go on a mission with them?
Yeah.
Like, they don't put that on I mean, they say look out for Rey, I'm sure, on the app, but they don't say, like, Rey will crouch and pretend you're hiding from Kylo Ren, which is awesome. So, like,
I think I got mad dogged by Chewie. Like, Chewie mad dogged me.
Well,
and then I was like, I'm sorry, Chewie, and then, like, he kept going.
The greatest thing, dude, were you with me, Jason? Were we together when I was getting a Ronto wrap at, like, the end of the night? Chewie runs up to the counter, smacks his, like, paws on the desk, and then a guy goes, hey, Chewie, can I have a picture? And he goes, arr! And he runs away. I was like, that is awesome. Chewie just told this adult no for a photo. Like,
you may have just run into a cast member who was having a bad day.
Hey, we had the Chewie suit on and it worked for me.
They used it. Method. Acting.
Little stuff.
Yeah. Have you guys activated the ships and stuff in
Galaxy's Edge?
In Galaxy's Edge?
Yes.
Because through the app, if you do, like, little puzzles and stuff, you can make the ships turn on, which I think is actually really cool.
Yeah, and then there's also, like, I'm trying to think. I was in that, like, opening day crush a couple times last year, you know, where, like, they hold you at the line and you wait. And there's those, like, transmitters on the poles too you can, like, turn on and, like, make them, like, short out and stuff.
Oh.
And that's all very fun, and especially if I was a kid, because that's all. As a kid, you wouldn't have an app, but, like, there would be interactivity on things, and I feel like they would kind of fall short. But if I was a kid and I could hit the button and, like, a big thing would, like, light up, that would blow my mind.
Yeah.
Cool.
I think my criticism was...
Oh, go ahead, Jason.
Oh, sorry. I've tried to do this stuff at Galaxy's Edge, and I tried to download the Play Disney Parks app when I was in park on the Wi-Fi, and it was, it's over 600 megabytes. This is not happening on Disney Wi-Fi. So I think people have complained, like, it local storage and then, like, a data usage with the app, it was crashing a lot when they first launched it. So it was definitely a thing, like, on my mental to-do list of, like, fiddle around with this more at the park.
I think the only complaints people were having was the way they hyped it up beforehand, and then the stuff that was cut. It made it sound like it was going to be just full immersive everywhere. Every clerk spoke Batu or whatever the language is.
Yes.
And, like, and, you know, of course people would be constantly coming up to you talking about your Millennium Falcon performance. And it's like, they didn't really do that.
Yeah.
And I think but if you didn't have that expectation and you just played with the stuff on the app, you'd go, oh, that's cool. That's very cool. I like doing that.
You want, how would you feel if you were in Oga's Cantina and you walked in and then Rex cut the music and told everybody to be quiet and pointed you out, like, this guy is the guy who crashed the dang Falcon?
Yeah, that would be awesome. That would be so good. If he and anything, like, you bought a milk or something, like, you bought a milk in your app register. I mean, this is all scary because your app is just tracking you, but it's also awesome because a robot could call you out for what you just bought or something. Like, anything like that.
We want the robots to roast us. That's the height of all this.
Well, Potato Head does a version of it at Toy Story Midway Mania. But more robots roasting, like Rex. Yeah, Rex could just list, like, the last 4 digits of your credit card number as you come in too. 0941. I know.
Security code.
security code. Vehicle identification number 34X1. Like all of we want as much of that as possible.
Yeah, Chewie just came up to me and told me I had bad credit.
Chewie did hug me once. Like the crowd parted and Chewie was there and he reached out and gave me a big hug. So that was nice.
Yeah, that's great.
In addition to his threatening mad dogging.
Just hard.
Other time.
Plays hard to get. I was going to ask Avery, like some of us talking about the fortune teller machines. This is the app interactivity. Yeah. Are you interested in this in general, or have you was that you're in for this stuff that we're talking about, or have you done are there other things on this app that we may not be aware of?
I mean, I at one point spent an entire day just in Galaxy's Edge, just messing around with the app.
Wow.
And the app is not great, but it is kind of fun to collect those little badges and things. Like I think maybe part of this is that I, as a child, was not allowed to play video games. I never had any video games, and even now I don't really do it. And so even the hint of something that's kind of a video game, it gets the dopamine or whatever it is firing, right? It's fun to collect those little badges.
Yes,
you are a tinkerer naturally, though. You've done you've made a lot of videos with like practical effects stuff.
I like messing around with stuff. I mean, I think here's the thing. I think that Disneyland is this cool constructed world, right? It's like this constructed fantasy world, and when you're a kid and you go there, it's like there's magic and new things to find around every corner, right? And I think with a lot of this, I want to capture some of that back. Like I want that feeling of maybe if I like am walking around here, something is hidden, you know? And I think sometimes with the app at its best, when when the Wi-Fi is good enough, you can get a little bit of that, right? Because like Fortune Red is you would not be able to find it. But like most people, it's hidden down an alleyway. It's actually in a very inopportune place. You have to sort of like it's down an alley where people are often doing a meet and greet with Jack Skellington. And so there's like you kind of have to like stand there and cut kids in line to go. It looks like you're cutting off kids who are gonna go talk to Jack Skellington, but then you just go and do this little fortune teller. But I guess I just want more little things like that, you know?
Yeah. I mean, the discovery, I think I'm sure probably we all have that. This is the annual pass. Luckily, I think people have heard this news. Supposedly, when the park opens back up, there will be some kind of annual pass program again. So
sure,
we won't have to pay $150 each time we go. But I think this is, what you're saying is like, having the privilege of living out here and having an annual pass is what you're talking about, because it's like you start to figure out all the little hidden stuff, and it makes the place feel so much cooler. And then you're kind of almost on a hunt for it. It's like when I didn't even go to the Steakhouse 55 bar until I was out here for like 6 or 7 years. And you get to that little bar and you're like, this is a nice little hotel bar. And it's like, that's not as cool as like a fortune teller machine. But there is like this,
I don't know. I might argue with you there, but
all right, fair enough. But even like weird stuff, in the Disneyland Hotel, they have the Autopia car in there, and it's like stuff out of the way. Like you go, it does feel like you're exploring this like thing that almost feels like has unlimited hidden things.
Yeah. Well, and I think the nice thing, it's because it's so big. If you pack a lot of these hidden things, like let's say you have family visiting for a weekend or stuff, and you're only there for a day, maybe 2. But if there's enough hidden things, and they stumble across 1 or 2 things, like that produces delight. Like that's, I think, the big thing that we're always like trying to get back to is in these parks. It's like finding little moments of delight, especially if I try not to be cynical about these places. I do enjoy these places, but like every now and then they fall short of expectations. But like little things like this where you are reminded of the attention to detail really make them sing.
Part of what I think is so interesting about these parks is that they operate it's like two very different things. It's on one hand, it's like this disgusting commercialism, right? It's like very clearly just trying to make your money, take your money away from you, you know? And then on the other hand, it's like art and idealism and like hope and trying to find whimsy and magic in places where you wouldn't expect it, right? Because if there are like hidden things down alleys in Disneyland, maybe there are hidden things down alleys in the rest of the world, right? And I think that's kind of what you're trying to capture.
Yeah, like a magic is everywhere. It is interesting you're saying that because, yeah, obviously everything is just money, as much money as possible. It is funny because I think if Disney, say like Walt Disney didn't start theme parks, but Disney existed and they started them right now, they wouldn't have magic in them. They might have very cool, expensive rides, and it might be very fun to go. But I feel like because of the precedent that was set early on of like detail, now all the Imagineers who were raised on all of this detail push for it, and we still get like an extra little like fortune teller machine here and there or narratives. And I think if it was just created in the last 10 years, it would just be big movie rides. And I wouldn't look like a Six Flags, but it wouldn't be nearly as like it wouldn't have nearly as many hidden things and like as much detail and stuff.
Yeah,
but that's
I think that's right, and I think the little things. I mean, sometimes you can with these fortune telling machines, for example, you can dig back in the past and like, oh, well, you don't see these maybe you still see these sorts of machines are still. Common at boardwalks and fairs and carnivals and that sort of thing. But, like, they still produce delight. There's still plenty of videos on YouTube of people going to these machines and doing them and reading the cards and all. I think the first one I could find was, like, back in the 1900s. But there's a video on YouTube of a channel called Great Big Story, and they interview Olaf Stanton, the head of Characters Unlimited, and they build every Zoltar machine by hand in Boulder City, Nevada.
Wow.
And so you can still order these things, and they make them by hand. And one thing they pointed out is Olaf cast his own teeth for the Zoltar. That is the owner's teeth.
Whoa.
On each creature.
Each Zoltar has Olaf's teeth.
Each Zoltar, yes. I don't know if Zoltar is copyrighted, though, because I found another company selling Zoltar machines.
What is Olaf? Was it an interview with him? Did his voice sound like this or anything?
It doesn't sound like that. He's just a guy. Okay. Like, he's just like a nice, normal guy. And they make the cards. They make the fortune telling cards too. He was like boxing up like tons of packs of cards.
It's like really the fortune teller machine for me. It's like it's everything we like about a themed entertainment. It's a robot. There's an interactive element to it. There's an intimacy with it. The fortune teller doesn't say they're proud of me, but it's like it's something. It's something in the way where they're addressing me. They are saying something to me.
Intimacy is weird. You fall into these turns of phrase.
I know what he means.
Every other episode.
Intimacy.
I want to have intimacy with Zoltar and with Fortune Red.
I said that Olaf seduces me on the Frozen ride.
Olaf seduces me, and I want to have intimacy with him and with Olaf, whether it's Olaf the Snowman or Olaf with the teeth.
Look, I am not. After Europe, I stopped being sexual in any way again. So I'm just using intimacy and sexual and seductive non-sexually.
This is an intimate art form. Podcasting is an intimate art form.
We are
it is audio.
Why do you need to say that though? You need to say it's intimate.
All right,
you're a purveyor of intimate goods, Scott Gairdner.
God, ugh.
We are purveying intimate goods, Scott. Deal with it. All right.
Well, now you'll do it. But I was going to say, just leave the word "boy" out of there. Don't say I'm an intimate good purveyor boy. That weird shit people do. I'm a little intimate purveyor boy.
Hey, you said it, not us.
Ah, damn it. I said the clean phrase.
We tricked you with dark arts into saying it.
All right, let's bring it back. Let's bring it back on topic. So, Avery, you're a little fortune collecting boy.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm sort of
do that to our guest. That's very rude.
No, I've always considered myself sort of an intimate little boy.
Oh, yeah.
I need a break.
No, I think there is something about that. When you go on rides, you see animatronics that are in their own world, but these are animatronics that are like in your world. Do you know what I mean? And there's something that feels intimate about it.
Yes. It's they're right there. It exists on a boardwalk, which is not themed like, it's a little themed, but it's not themed like Disney. You're in your, as you're saying, real world. It's kind of like, especially when you're a kid, is this thing real? It's kind of real. And now it's going to like tell me something bad about my life. That's intimate. Somebody says something bad about your life. Like now there's an intimacy there. So non-sexual.
Okay. All right. As long as you put that next to intimacy. But let's talk about one of these other machines. Do we have an order we want to go in? We got 2 to go. Esmeralda.
Sure. Yeah, Esmeralda is, this is kind of another sort of like, I don't know. This is a weird line because it's like in the 50s and 60s, it's like, well, we need some mysticism. I guess let's put a Romani in there. Like, let's just get that in there. Yeah, that'll solve this.
Sure. That's I'm actually surprised they haven't changed the name because it's the same name as Hunchback of Notre Dame character.
That's a good point.
Confusing.
Feels like they would not.
I googled Esmeralda fortune teller, and there's like a lot of different companies that are all making different Esmeralda fortune tellers. So I wonder if that was at some point a character in some sort of media. Like, is it all referencing something
media
else? Do you think that other people are referencing the Disney one, or do you think that the Disney one and other ones are also referencing something else that we don't know about?
Is the name all referencing Hunchback ultimately?
Maybe.
Like, yeah. Or like a generic, it's kind of like there's that story in the Devil in the White City book about like we need a song for someone to dance to, and like the pianist like is just covered in flop sweat and just kind of plunked out like da 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 da, like, and that's where that came from. Like, did they just like Esmeralda something in an old dime store book, or in just like the first generations of these storytelling machines of like, oh, that's a name that sounds foreign enough to Americans, they'll think it's mystical.
Yeah, it's probably, somebody probably knows the exact history and we're sounding like idiots, but it probably seems like, well, it's a Romanian name and they know fortunes. I assume it comes from some sort of like very lazy brand.
Seems like we all hate Esmeralda. That's what seems like a lot of despising going on.
What?
Oh, from us, you mean?
Yeah. Like everybody hates this machine.
No, I don't hate her at all. I'm just saying it's possibly comes from some sort of like lazy white people. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Sure, I also think that she's like she's maybe the least original and least specific to Disneyland.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like the
sure.
The pirate one is outside Pirates of the Caribbean. Fortune or Shrunken Ned is in Adventureland. This is kind of, you've seen this before,
Well, it's like throwback probably to something arcade. Young Walt saw or something,
right.
Because it's in we're talking about the thing in the Penny Arcade on Main Street.
Right.
Yeah. So it's along with, there's a couple. There's a little family of weird mannequins and stuff on Main Street. I guess it's a throwback to mannequins that he either liked or creeped him out as a kid.
There's a lot. Yeah, there's still a lot of like little stuff that doesn't feel like it's so Disney. Like in the Penny Arcade, there is that Pinocchio machine where you put like a quarter and he dances. And like, so They have more like new Disney stuff in there, but there are still some pieces on Main Street like this that are a little more generic, just like old turn of the century, maybe.
Well, yeah, I found one of these that because I was like, well, this doesn't count as one of the fortune tellers, but it's it's adjacent, I would say, and I don't think I've ever seen this guy. He's an Uncle Sam, and he has a big. I think you. Well, no, you don't step on him. It's some sort of like strength tester. He's got like a dial in his chest, and the thing that his chest dial says is a little unsettling to me. Hello, strong man. Squeeze my hand. I can't.
Sounds good to me.
Wait, where is this?
That's in the Penny Arcade, apparently, and he's jutting his hand out, and it's a little. I think it's a little like low. You can see where he's plugged in. This doesn't feel super Disney-ish, does it? But it's there, apparently.
You're saying like his hand is like at crotch level.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah. If you walked up to this, he would be shaking you in the groin.
So Uncle Sam will jerk you off for a quarter. That's what you're saying.
Still looking for magic in Disneyland, yes.
Now that is intimacy. That is a sexual intimacy.
There now, this is, yes. I'm comfortable labeling
man.
that. Hello, strong man. Squeeze my hand or put something else in there. I don't know.
Put something in my hand and put the quarter in. Is there a quarter? Is there even a component to a quarter? Yeah, there has to be, right?
He does it for free. He just...
Whoa, he does?
Yeah. Sam's just...
wow.
Sam just likes
for the love
people.
of the game.
I guess he's finally embraced the welfare state.
Yeah. That's another. I mean, this is all pre-Disneyland. So this goes back to carnivals and Penny Arcades, Mechanical Turk. Like this is all the stuff that
robots giving you hand jobs.
Yeah,
that's old before Disneyland.
That's old. Yeah. A ton of love.
That's what all of
stuff.
steampunk is heading for. Like that's what the more gears we put on stuff and hats and guns, like. Eventually, we'll end up with a steam-powered robot that jerks you up.
Well, back in the turn of the century, you thought that it was a robot giving you a hand job, but then you open up the box and there's actually a man inside the box pulling little ropes and things.
And he's that magician's twin.
The twin is picking your pocket. While you are so mad at the reveal. That's how they get you.
So many levels. Esmeralda gives you cards. Like she has a deck of cards and they change those out and put different like Disney designs on them. I'm looking at a deck with Tinkerbell and a Small World Hawaiian Girl and the Abominable Snowman from Matterhorn, and so that's a little detail I never noticed. And again, the cards are interesting and odd and specific. I'm looking at one that warns you about beware of a man who has dark hair and wears a good deal of jewelry. He is a false friend. This is something Esmeralda.
Wow.
Does anyone have anyone in their lives, or is there someone prominent in the world who fits that description? Dark hair and wears a good deal of jewelry, and he's a false friend.
Good deal of jewelry. That's a good question. Ringo?
Oh no! Well, the darkness of his hair is false. We know that.
That's true. I think he still wears some rings.
Yeah, Mr. T, possibly Mr. T.
Oh yeah,
Mr. T, a lot of jewelry. Yeah, that's true. Good question. We'd have to think about this more.
Jeez, yeah.
That does seem like, I don't know what, that does seem like a warning, like an old person would give you and go like, you can't say that anymore. I'm not quite sure what you are implying, but I'm sure it's not great. Like,
yes, I see. I get where you're going with that.
It is like it's still, and it's just like I know that you're mad at an entity. That country has not existed for 200 years. We don't have to worry. Grandpa, what do you?
Grandma Esmeralda. Don't worry about that stuff.
Yeah.
Actually, as you bring, maybe it's a good time to bring up, because I got curious if Esmeralda exists in other parks. And what was my answer? I think it was in the Magic Kingdom in Disney World and is not anymore. And I couldn't find an equivalent in Disneyland Paris. But there in Tokyo, there continues to be a different fortune-telling machine. And you talk about non-Disney. This is very odd. Like why is this in Tokyo Disneyland? Grandmother's predictions. There's an old lady and kind of a brooch. And it says, "What does Grandma say?" Your answer is here. I mean, one thought is just like, so there's something. I mean, Esmeralda's in a box too, but why is a grandma in a box? That's unsettling to me. I don't want. And there's something like personal about, intimate, you might say, about saying grandma. It's like your grandma. Why is my grandma in a box? And then I got curious. So you see an Uncle Sam back there too, sticking his hand out. So he's in Tokyo too. You're not left out if you're in Tokyo. And I was like, well, what does Grandma say? What is Grandma's answer? And one of the cards that Grandma gives you is that a devil might come and poke you with an arrow in the night. There's a little cartoon of a devil poking a very like heavily flop sweating sleeping man who's extremely distraught. You talk about bizarre details. I had no idea you could go to Tokyo Disneyland and get this weird devil card. The devil and his pitchfork are gadding about. The devil will get you if you don't watch out. And it's like really pointing in there. This looks like it hurts.
Places temptations in your way. Be strong, be firm, and you won't stray. I mean, what is he talking about? Having an affair? Or she is grandma talking about it?
A lot of these are about affairs, seemingly. So yeah, maybe.
Huh. Or I guess, stray is the one that leads me to think this is about an affair. I mean, like, could you apply like going down a bad path with drugs for straying? I guess.
This is what
from your straight life.
Mike Pence went to Tokyo Disneyland years ago and got this card, and that's why he won't be in an elevator with a woman.
Yeah, he can't handle it because he remembers that the devil will poke him in the middle of the night.
It's placing temptation in my way.
Is your Mike Pence impression the same as your Aladar impression from Dinosaur?
Stand together.
I can't be in the same room with a lady dinosaur.
But it's also a little further, and then it's Don Pardo with Grandma. Yeah. The devil. And your host, the devil.
With musical guest, a man with lots of jewelry.
When they let fortune teller cards book that one episode of SNL.
This fortune you can't get anywhere else. You know, you can't get it in the other souvenir shops in Tokyo Disney. It's exclusive to the machine.
Yep.
And
yeah.
I'm really feeling bad that I hadn't seen Grandma. I mean, Scott was there, and you missed Grandma too.
No, I didn't see Grandma. And you know, I do feel sad about that. So it'd be nice to get more Grandma style in our lives. Mike, could you give a Grandma style prediction, a fortune for Jason, let's say?
Okay, for Jason, I will say, watch out for the devil lurks in the fridge.
Well, that one I already knew about because, you know, if you dance with the devil in the fridge too much, the devil ends up right on your hips, you know.
Hey, can I say something real quick? So what Jason and I used to be on a sketch team together at UCB, and I think that when you guys first started the podcast, we were on the team.
Yes.
Were we on the team together, Shane?
And shortly thereafter, yeah.
And at the time, I remember that you wrote at least a couple sketches about either theme parks or snacks.
No, you don't say.
I don't believe it.
And then hearing the podcast, like it came together to really form a picture of a man. Do you know what I mean? Like I started to get hints of it at the time, and then through listening to this podcast, I really got the full picture.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's funny that you bring that up because the one time I have been to the Museum at Gairdner, Avery and I were at SF Sketchfest with that sketch group, And I had some sort of snack that gave me food poisoning. So I spent much of one of the few days I was in San Francisco wandering Fisherman's Wharf, just trying to get some fresh air. And one of the ways I tried to cheer myself up was in the Museum at Canique. So,
was it a banana?
Snacks.
Did a banana hurt your tum-tum too early in the morning?
Oh, yeah. Was it a banana in the morning without anything else?
I think it was eating fried rice with crispy pig skin at 1 a.m. It is probably the
sounds
thing
right.
So
I have an addendum to that, Fortune. There's also a knife in one of the food.
Okay, yeah, because if you cut a pie, if you have a pie and you've been cutting up slices, sometimes you just put the pie with the knife back in the fridge.
You bake the
so
knife accidentally into the pie.
Well, that's if you have a friend you need to help out of a jam, you know.
Yeah, like when Ma Beagle sends a knife to her
That's
sons,
right.
the Beagle Boys in prison.
Yeah.
Okay. What Esmeralda? Should we go to the next?
I think
Yeah,
we
so
could talk about
ultimately,
Fortune,
like Esmeralda is not my favorite of the fortune tellers, but I am glad that she's there on Main Street, because it's like Main Street otherwise is kind of just a lot of shops. You know, it's nice that there is something there that is not just a shop.
Even the penny arcade now
I
think is mostly not a penny arcade, besides the weird Uncle Sam. So yeah, it's kind of the main way it's representing that, and those like little movies that you watch for a nickel, which we will obviously cover individually one by one, each old timey movie.
Those Wright brothers are something, you know.
But Fortune Red, the pirate, I mean, that's what really jumped out, and that seems like the biggest like element of the interactivity and everything. What do we know about this guy?
Well, there's this little corner over in New Orleans Square that they've sort of expanded, I think, a little bit in the last so many years, but I was a place I feel like I almost realized existed, I don't know, like 3 years ago. Like there's a Haunted Mansion gift shop located here, and then there's Pirates kind of gift shop, and they're both not in the traditional place of like immediately after coming off of those rides. They're just sort of tucked away in this little corner of New Orleans Square. And this is similar. This is in a similar spot, and it feels like a little hidden spot to me.
Yeah, they keep cutting off pieces of it. This is right back near where you used to go to the Court of Angels, which was just like a very nice, pleasant themed courtyard that they eventually redid and made. It still exists. It's like the entry courtyard to Club 33 now.
Mm-hmm. And that there was an outcry about that at the time.
People are not happy about that because I think a lot of people had taken pictures back there, or be it engagement pictures or pictures of families over the years, and I think that was another secret little thing, like these fortune tellers, which is like, oh, you go to the end of this alleyway, and there is a charming little like New Orleans courtyard. It's got some quiet music playing, that sort of thing.
Let's take it back. Let's storm it. We're storming the Court of Angels.
There were a lot of good people going there that were just protesting. Not everybody there storming that courtyard.
They didn't have weapons to storm it. Yeah, they just want to go in and take a picture. That's it.
I mean, let's get on Telegram and organize and go from there.
We do have to set up our presences on all of the weird.
We were. Jason was just ready to. Jason had just finished our Parler account, and then they took it off the app
man,
store.
so sorry.
Well,
yeah. So we'll try. If it goes back up, we'll be there.
It was finally a place to say what we really think.
Yeah, finally.
Your Parler account is the third gate, right?
Yes. Well, like Disney MGM Studios, we heard another theme park account was doing a third gate, and we real quickly scrambled and found out the basics of what they were going to do. And we're like, we'll do a movie studio park too. We'll do a Parler account too.
Mm-hmm. So we'll see.
Demolished
On that.
Yeah.
But they added, I guess what I'm saying, Court of Angels gone. We got to go experience it once at Club 33, which was obviously very cool, but not something I expect us to do a ton in our lifetime. But I feel like they've made little magic moment places here in the way they've set this stuff up, and now added this little piece of fun, fortune teller fun.
Well, what's this? What do you do with the app? What does Fortune Red do for you if you have the Play Disney app fired up?
Yeah, so if it's working, sometimes it doesn't work. But if it's working, you can go to a little like section in the app that says Fortune Red, and you say like I'm here, and then the thing lights up and does its little like back and forth animatronic thing, and then spits out one piece of a story, and apparently there's like, oh yeah, there you go, and there's like 10 cards in each story, I think, and there's 3 stories, and as far as I can tell, like the stories aren't particularly interesting. That's not what I'm into. Do you know what I mean? Like I am a completist, but I don't particularly care about what I'm getting from it. I just want them. I want to have them, you know?
Sure.
Yes. Yeah.
I believe
nothing has been too rewarding for you having, like, you have them in front of you and you're not looking at some like pearl of wisdom or quote that's changed your life.
Right. I feel like you guys can relate to the feeling of like just wanting to possess things.
What, Avery? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I mean, I've got some.
Oh wow!
Some little Vinylmations here too.
Hey, there's the game.
Yes, those are the Mickey shaped ones. I have the Park Stars, which are not in the Mickey shape.
No, the Park Stars are better.
The Park Stars, yes, I always liked better because of that. They've stopped making both, I believe, at this point.
Yeah, I think that's true.
Are
any of these fortune tellers a Park Star?
Oh, I think that they did. I think that there's at least an Esmeralda.
Is there?
I think so.
Let me look.
See if you can pull that up.
But is it the Esmeralda from Hunchback?
Oh, maybe.
Because I know they did movie versions.
Yeah, I don't see a Park Star for the fortune teller. I see Hunchback of Vinylmations. I don't know.
It is Avery, like you said, you might be one of the very few people committed to this sort of thing, because when I looked at the YouTube videos about and typed in like Esmeralda, Main Street Disneyland, Fortune Red Disneyland, there were certainly videos of people going and getting the fortunes, but there was no like, usually there's a 20-minute explainer where people like walk you through the story, and it's like, okay, here's how you do this, here's how you, and most of the blogs that cover this stuff did have like in 2018, hey, go to Esmeralda or Fortune Red with the parks, the Play Disney Parks app, and this is what you can do. But there has not been a lot of like follow-up about it or like accounting of it.
Yeah, I think that they've tried the different, what was the interactive thing they were doing in Frontierland? You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yes. The game.
I feel like they've tried this stuff and it hasn't maybe taken off in a way, but it's cool in concept, and I'm a little upset with myself for not knowing more about this and not experimenting more with Fortune Red and the app. So I don't know if it just needs to get out there. Maybe this podcast is doing some sort of a service. Because I said definitely when I go next, I am going to do a little of this. I'm definitely going to scope that out. So
you really how upset at yourself are you?
Let's see. Okay. On a 1 to 10, 10 being the most upset, 2.
Okay, all right. If it was more than 2, I would have been like, I think you gotta cut yourself a break.
Okay, fair enough. You know what? I am too hard on myself. You're right.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
But thank you for sharing intimate details of your thought process and feelings.
Well, look, I am the most intimate member of the Podcast The Ride trio.
Okay, well, I guess.
Non-sexually.
Scott has left the Zoom.
You know, that reminded me of a story from like the first time that I went to Disney World as a little kid. We went to the Morocco restaurant at Epcot, and there's a belly dancer there, and I remember being like so freaked out by any kind of display of sexuality that I hid under the table and cried. And then my family made fun of me for 30 years.
Yeah.
They just never let it go.
I hear that. I can relate to that.
I was just trying to be a good little boy.
Yeah, of course.
And it's stories like that I knew you would be a perfect guest for this podcast. I should mention to Avery, you are notable in podcast ride history as you are our first iTunes review.
Oh, is that true?
So thank you for that.
Hey,
yes.
happy to do it.
Yeah.
Beware, dark fates await those who listen to this podcast.
Now that was the review. I didn't say anything about the contents of it. But,
like a hex he was doing.
Let me praise Fortune Red real quick. They made Fortune Red look like an old, jacked up animatronic pirate. They didn't make. Sometimes my criticism is they make some of the new animatronics look a little too nice and new. I think Red looks fine, but she maybe doesn't look like jacked up like some of the other. And I know that she's not as like weathered as the other characters, but I'm glad that he looks like they pulled a 60s animatronic out and shoved him in a machine. I think that's cool.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fortune Red looks like his face is about to fall apart.
Yes, that's the good.
That's what I like about it. It looks like it's made of like dirt and it's gonna fall apart.
Yes.
And what he does is he's got a pointed finger and he just points back and forth between a map and a skull. and Yoho, they're like a jaunty version of Yoho plays. Yoho, A Pirate's Life for Me plays, and then he points as if to say death is lies upon this map, and then he spits you out a fortune, which are kind of indecipherable because they're so written in pirate and like seafaring slang.
So yeah, I appreciate that. I don't know. I actually don't know. Is it maybe they just grabbed an old pirate? They have all these old pirates lying around at Imagineering. They just shoved an old one in here, and
also, you just alluded to some. This is confusing. Also, we should Fortune Red is not Red the pirate.
Fortune Red is not Red.
Fortune Red the pirate is not Red the pirate.
Red is 2 Ds, correct? Red the pirate. The new.
Oh, is it? I don't know. Which is not Red
wrong?
Rocket from Red Rocket's Pizza Port, the old name of the not good restaurant. I'll declare.
Yeah,
at
Red is 2
Tomorrowland.
Ds for the new pirate Red on Pirates of the Caribbean.
Female character that is 2. I don't think I knew that. Like Chris Red, a relative of SNL cast member Chris Red.
Red the pirate is not Chris Red and is not
Fortune Red.
Fortune Red. And has nothing to do with Red Rocket Pizza.
Nothing to do with Simply Red, the 80s band.
Nothing to do with Simply Red. Not the wrestler Amazing Red. Has nothing to do with Amazing Red. These are all different things. I'm looking at Red. And Red, my only criticism is that Red looks too nice. The pirate Red, the new animatronic.
Oh, the pirate. Well, I think I liked the addition of Red. It is very smooth. It's very clearly a newer generation animatronic. But I think the issue with Red and Rosita is the audio needs to be worse. It's the fidelity is too clear. It needs to be a little hissier, and the dialogue needs to be a little more anachronistic, not in content, but in like stilted delivery.
Well, there's a lot of enunciation, which is why you want people to hear it. But that wasn't the case in the old days of recording these voices, where it's like like you can barely understand what these pirates are saying. And there's some charm to that. So yeah, when you see a new animatronic, especially one in the context of an old ride with old audio recordings, it really sticks out that like she's like, "We want the rum," and then everyone else is like, like it's just so much different.
Yeah,
you should have gotten like an old character actress who's drunk to do the lines. And then mess up the audio, then use it just like on an old 60s reel-to-reel recorder and use that tape to make it fully match.
Because you can't throw like a lacy hard drive down the stairs to like add you add stuff to the audio track in the way that like you can physically beat up analog media to get a certain effect.
Yeah. So yeah, they Fortune Red again, melting face,
janky,
Yeah,
like you want it to be.
You don't want anything too good. Is the truth, right? You want everything to be a little bit bad.
Yeah,
you want it to work consistently.
Yeah, right.
But mostly consistently.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, I guess in Tomorrowland, I think you would maybe want. I think depending on what the land is, you would want the animatronics to be like new, pristine feeling. But every other land where it feels like it's a long time ago, including Galaxy's Edge, you would want all the robots to be a little janky, at least just from looks, not maybe their movement necessarily, but you would want them to all feel haunted. Like there was a person that got trapped in the robot and they were melting, and that was their fate for the rest of time. So yeah, Fortune Red is stuck throughout the rest of time. He was a human man.
Yeah.
And now he has to live in this box.
Grandma really is in that box.
Yes.
Grandma can't get out of the box.
That's a
right. She was bad in her real life, and then she was cursed by the devil to live in a box in Tokyo Disneyland.
They were all the fortune tellers were recipients of bad fortunes that laid out the curse.
A
box
killed.
Will be your eternal home. And they thought it was a coffin, but
right.
They didn't read it right.
They didn't understand.
She looks a little like the grandmother in Carousel of Progress, which someone pointed out is like the same grandmother animatronic that is in the Haunted Mansion somewhere.
Yeah, it's a ghost in a rocking chair. Yeah.
Yes.
They reused it. That's a fun, creepy detail. So Avery, all right. So you've done this experience. You've collected them all, at least for one of the stories. And do you feel like, would you recommend this to other people, or is this just like, well, it satisfied my specific fascinations?
I think everybody should. I think it's a fun thing that you can show people when you bring them to the park. I think it's a cool thing that not everybody knows about, and you get a little keepsake at the end of it. And I mean, the fact that they made it so it's free is so great.
Yeah, that's you know what? We got a change shortage now. It's tough to find. I haven't used change anywhere in a while. So, yeah, we're all going to be lacking in quarters, I think. And maybe you need them for laundry or something. So now they figure out a way where for just the probably now more expensive price of going to Disneyland, and you just download the app, and now you don't got to sling that change around.
Here's, I think, what I really want, because the stories are like fun, but it doesn't mean anything particularly. What I want is I go to one of the fortune tellers and it spits out a card that tells me to go somewhere else in the park and find something else, right? And I have to like go up to the top of the Tarzan treehouse or whatever the hell, and then that sends me somewhere else. I want a fortune, like a hunt throughout the park. And I don't think that's unreasonable.
No, I don't.
No.
I want it to cater to exactly what I want.
No, that's cool.
I think that's what they were trying with that game in Frontierland for a little while, where there was sort of more of a hunt. But it felt like very official. It felt like you needed to be somewhere at a certain time to give things out, and then people would go off. But I think, maybe your idea, your plus up here is good in the sense that it's a less formal version of that. And you can find, they do little hunts like around Easter. They go find all the eggs and mark them down. That's not quite as cool as this, but maybe there are multiple choose your own adventure type things with fortune telling machines and other interactive elements that could be like that.
I think it will never be able to last if they need park employees to do it. If someone's job is to interact with someone and give them a clue all day, I don't think that will happen, right? But if they
that's what happened. They had this card game in Florida that you would go around and play, like almost like a simplified Magic the Gathering kind of like game where you would cast spells and have character cards and this sort of thing. And it was free to you got a starter pack for free, and then you could buy stuff, or they would give stuff, different cards to annual pass holders. And they had been doing it for years and just recently like shelved it for the moment because I don't know that the demand was there. And it requires, I think, some cast member interaction.
Mm-hmm. So So, yes, as you were saying, Avery, like, no, because that'll always get cut. It'll always get cut when a human is having to do it.
That's just to be a job.
So figure out ways with these machines or other things to, like, send you on a little mission.
Yeah, and I feel like sometimes people discount the app because they don't want people they don't like the idea of somebody walking around the park just staring at their phone all the time, and I agree that's like a legitimate concern, right? But I feel like if there's ways that, like, with these fortune tellers, what's cool about it is that the app lets you interact physically with the landscape of the park. Do you know what I mean? You're like using the app, but it's not keeping you in the app. It's like getting you out into interesting things in the space. So if they could make you do more of that, it would be awesome.
Yeah, because they did. There was a Space Mountain. I mean, I guess it exists still. There's a Space Mountain like game you could play. I guess we were playing it in line, and it was awful because we were having to like just play it for 25 minutes. This game with putting pieces together, and we're competing against other people in line, and I was just like, this is so stressful. Like, I feel like that's maybe not as good of an application as what you're saying, where it's just like you interact with this because you're close to it. It goes, hey, there's a secret little corridor you may not have known about. Go over there, and then you put your phone down. You experience life. You go over there, and then you put your phone up for a second, and then you go somewhere else.
Yeah.
That feels a lot better with the application than having to play a stressful game against 30 people in Space Mountain line.
And there's already that
pass,
game
maybe?
You put on your forehead. I mean, that's already like dominating. Disney's not going to cut into the forehead card game, which I can't summon the name of right now.
Yeah, what is the name of it?
I don't know.
My
forehead card game,
Heads
I
Up?
think. Yeah, there you go.
Heads Up. Yeah. That's
Hey,
what
all
it is.
right. We're a great podcast for not knowing specific names. I think every episode there is a search for a name, which doesn't guaranteed have an ending. I guess the correct answer
No.
at the end.
Sometimes we leave the audience hanging.
We did figure out the clown's name, which was
Cliffy.
Cliffy. Okay.
Cliffy the clown.
And we did figure out that podcasting is what kind of medium?
Intimate.
An intimate medium.
And that's why he's the best. That's why he's a pro.
That's why I'm the most intimate on the show.
Yes.
I think I believe Avery Monsen, you survived podcast The Ride.
Oh,
thank you for
God.
joining us for this trip through this intimate medium. Thanks for getting intimate with us. Let's exit through the gift shop. Is there anything you'd like to plug?
Yeah, I mean, you can follow me on Twitter or Instagram at Avery Monsen. It's AveryMonsen. Or if you have kids, I just wrote a children's book called I Am the Longest Dog that's published by Disney.
Wow.
Which doesn't mean anything, unfortunately. It's a totally separate thing. But yeah, you can check it out or go to longestdog.com and you can see the book.
Cool.
Great.
Cool.
Yeah. I would like to check it out because I call our dog Edwin a very long dog often. That's true. I'm not joking. He's long. He's small but long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
That's great.
Read it to him, and it will be an intimate experience.
Oh, yeah, certainly. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Hey, and for more intimate experiences with us, you can check us out on all your favorite social medias. And to quote Shrunken Ned, if you want to patronize Podcast The Ride, then visit Podcast The Ride, the second gate, where you get 3 bonus episodes every month, and that's at patreon.com/Podcast The Ride. Jason, you're the only one who didn't do a fortune. You do a fortune for Avery to close us out.
Oh, okay. While the path may seem treacherous and curving, a straight cut through is often the best choice.
Whoa.
Is there anything else, though, maybe, in that fortune, Jason?
And when you encounter an old friend on the pathway, you know he's got a knife. So stab him first.
Okay.
Oh, no. You feel okay about that? You think you can handle it?
Yeah, I guess I just gotta stab everyone I know.
Sounds like a plan. You took that
It's
just
time
right.
to start stabbing, guys.
Yeah.
Well, you better
when you
get to
encounter someone you know on that street in San Francisco that curves one way and the other and all the way down, and it's just, and you are walking right down the center of it, like cars honking at you, and then you run into an old college roommate. You know what to do.
You know what to do.
Stab, stab, stab. All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. Bye-bye.
Forever Dog.
This has been a Forever Dog production. Executive produced by Mike Carlson, Jason Sheridan, Scott Gairdner, Brett Boehm, Joe Cilio, and Alex Ramsey. For more original podcasts, please visit foreverdogpodcasts.com and subscribe to our shows on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Keep up with the latest Forever Dog news by following us on Twitter and Instagram @ForeverDogTeam and liking our page on Facebook.